dropping by this video. To anyone who's new, this channel is dedicated to the life, work, and teachings of a very special man named BrunobGroening. You can find out more about him on my website, which I have listed below. In essence, what BrunobGroening taught is how to become your own healer, and in another way, how to become your own minister, in the sense of, we often think, many people think that we kind of need a middleman or woman to teach us and help us get connected to God. BrunobGroening pointed out that we, while it's wonderful to listen to other human beings, that ultimately we have to find the truth inside of ourselves. And we have to, when we listen to other people, including me, we have to determine for ourselves if what we're being taught is true. And Bruno taught a very simple way of doing that, of listening deeply inside of yourself, to have that sense, the word I use, to have that sense of resonance. Bruno taught that God lives within us and that we literally need to learn to listen, as it's often called, to the still, small voice to determine truth. So what's on my mind and heart today is a very interesting thing that BrunobGroening said. He once said, and please forgive me if I'm mispronouncing the German, bitten ist beten, which roughly translate as prayer is pleading. The German word for prayer and pleading are very close, bitten and beten. Now, prayer is pleading. What does that mean? Well, I believe that's for each one of us to find out for ourselves. And part of what it means to me is that when we pray, when we ask for something, we really need to ask with all of our heart. In fact, someone who is very committed to BrunobGroening in his path, when I asked her, did Bruno have any pointers for how to pray? Hello, JMW555. The woman said yes. Oh, yes, she said. And she looked very sincere. She said to do it with all of your heart. So it's very easy to say, okay, God, okay, Bruno, please help me with this. Please help me with this. But to say, beloved Maker, Bruno, please help me with da-da-da-da-da. You can feel the difference. I hope you can feel the difference. But more importantly, not just when you listen to me do that, but when you yourself do that. Try it sometime. Just think of something you want help with. Let's say you have some trouble in a relationship. You can say, beloved Maker, Christ, please help me with the relationship with my mom. Or you can say, oh my Maker, oh Christ, please help in the relationship with my mother. Like really plead and pour out your heart, beg. The German, beten is the German word that gets translated as pleading. And I started this video, Bruno taught that bitten est beten. Prayer is pleading. But beten, it means to beseech, to beg, to plead. To really plead for help. Hey, Derek. Thanks for saying hi. So, all of this is deeply connected, and it's very important to keep in mind with prayer to surrender the outcome. It's very much, in my understanding, correct and right for us to ask God for help, but we have to leave the outcome in God's hands. Meaning, we can't demand that God do something. Many people do. I prayed that way for years. Please, God, help me with this, help me with this. But really what I was doing is I was kind of like bossing God around. So lately when I pray, I just like to ask for help and just leave it as broad as possible. Because within that is the idea that infinite love and wisdom knows what's best, knows what's better for me than I do. So yes, it's okay to ask for help with specific things, but to ask for a specific outcome. Let's go back to the example with mom. Like, please, please, God, help mom and I to get along better. It's a beautiful prayer and it's a beautiful wish, but maybe right now it's not best for you and mom to get along well. That's where surrender comes in. That's where I believe a more skillful prayer would be, please help in my relationship with mother, inside and outside. Because oftentimes, we like to think the problem is outside of us, when in fact, the problem is something inside of us. And the other thing is, when we don't get what we want in the time we want, if we don't have that attitude of surrender, that can really lead to a challenge in faith. Bruno himself said, I ask you to not determine for yourself the time in which a healing occurs. Meaning, it's okay to ask for healing for a specific thing. What doesn't work is to demand that the healing happen now, or demand that the healing happen quickly. Chefs on Top said, get out. Well, chef, you kind of entered my room. I mean, this is my virtual room. Everyone's welcome here. I'd say if you don't feel comfortable, of course you are welcome here. And if you don't feel comfortable, maybe you should get out. Just an idea. So it's okay for us to ask for help with anything and everything. In fact, I believe it's very virtuous and helpful to ask for help with anything and everything. And for us to order God around, that doesn't work so well. And it leads to people really losing their faith. It's kind of funny when you think about it. You're like, God, please, do this, this, and this. And then God doesn't, and people are like, you're no good. But really what's behind that is the idea that, hey, I should be able to tell you what to do and you should do it. In essence, I know better than you, which is ultimately very silly when you think about it. So those are my thoughts for today. And thank you everybody so much for joining in. And when for those who study the Bible, I'm going to close with this. You'll notice that there's many instances of prophets and saints crying out to the Lord, pleading to God, even shedding tears when they cry. So I think there's something to that, of putting in your whole heart into your prayers. And please don't feel bad if that's not how you pray. It's not for me to tell you how to pray. But I'm here to just offer a few suggestions and point out some of what BrunobGroening taught on the topic. Hey, let's see. Dad Bani Kamalo, thanks for saying hi. So I wish everyone a blessed, blessed day. Thank you everybody for joining in. And I wish you much good pleading today. Take care. Big love.